Joining us now is former Speaker of the House and Vice Chair of the Trump transition team, Newt Gingrich. He is also the author of the upcoming novel, Treason. Welcome, Mr. Speaker. Does Donald Trump have a mandate?
Well, I think, first of all, he won, and he won pretty decisively in the Electoral College. And I think the deeper thing is the Republicans won the House, they won the Senate, they won the governorships, most Republican governors in history, most Republican state legislators in history. So if you look at the country, there's certainly a shift towards Republican government on a pretty big scale.
Is it a challenge for him that he didn't win the popular vote?
To some extent, but remember, in 49 states, he had a 2,200,000 vote majority, and then there's California. We don't compete in California. The current rules of the game, we're not going to carry California, and it's a sad cycle. They don't invest because they're not going to carry it, so it gets worse every year. If this had been a general election where the total vote mattered, we'd have competed in California.
Are you still a fan of getting rid of the Electoral College? You used to be.
Well, I think in the long run, you want to find a way to have the whole country represented. But my point is, if we had total vote mattering, we would have competed in California. Right. And we would probably have picked up at least 2 million votes just by competing.
Let's talk about the pace of change. Should Donald Trump swing for the fences or go for singles?
Swing for the fences. I've done this twice in my career.
Yeah.
I did it with Reagan in '81. I did it as Speaker in '95. This is a city which, if you don't shove it as hard as you can while you have momentum, will just surround you. I mean, the swamp doesn't want to be drained, and the swamp will just suck you in if you let it. So he needs to have a very, very aggressive first year.
When I covered your presidential race and run in 2012, you made a case for incrementalism. You said, on 2 cases, you said, you know, when the country is as bitterly divided, and you put your name on a program and think any Democrat is going to vote for it, you have to go. Your argument was you have to go out and sell it, and that you have to. So explain how you swing for the fences, shove this country, but aren't moving too fast.
Well, 2 things. First of all, I recommend all of our viewers, they read a terrific book called The Education of Ronald Reagan, which really captures Reagan at General Electric and shows you what he learned about moving the country. So you've got to move the country. Trump's got to be the salesman. Second, you take something big like infrastructure. He can work with Chuck Schumer on infrastructure. He can find a bipartisan path that allows us to dramatically improve infrastructure, something Trump knows an immense amount about. And you could have a very big bipartisan bill on infrastructure. I suspect on tax reform, there's a chance to actually put together a tax reform package, which also, as Speaker Paul Ryan has pointed out today, also means you can handle a lot of the tariff differentials inside the tax code in a way that could be very advantageous to American business.
You know, back in 12, you also said, we got mad at Obama because he ran over us when we said don't do it. Well, Republicans ought to follow that same ground rule. Does that still apply?
I think it's very important that Trump try to have as many Democrats as possible help him do this, because one of the lessons of the Obama years is if you do things that are big on a purely partisan basis, they're not stable. Yeah. I mean, and I think Trump wants to change America to make it great again for a generation, not just for 8 years.
What has he done since being elected president that made you think, gee, that's different?
Well, I mean, I think, first of all, his speech on his victory speech was very conciliatory, very much in the right direction. I think his visit to the White House was very respectful on both sides, and I think encouraging in that sense. I think his meeting with Paul Ryan and with Mitch McConnell, and the fact that he's integrating Mike Pence so thoroughly, which also happened with Cheney. As you remember, Cheney as vice president led the transition. Pence as vice president is going to lead the transition. I think all those things show you steps towards stability and maturity that are very, very encouraging.